Good evening. For some, this will be a simple talk, a reminder, a gentle polishing of what you already know. For others, it will be a necessary correction, the removing of a small stone from the shoe that has made every step of prayer limp. For still others, it will be a saving discovery, a door where there seemed to be only wall, a breath where there had been strain. And so, let us be together in quiet. Because when I'm on a platform and the Spirit comes upon me, I forget everything else. The message flows as if from another room, and oh, where did the time go? Now our subject is a small phrase and a great mystery. I am. And I must say at once the reason we are here. When I am reveals God awareness, it is light. When I am inflates the person, it is hypnosis. Hypnosis, yes, a spiritualized suggestion, sweet to the ear and strong in the nerves, but leaving you precisely where you began, only more tightly bound to the one thing that cannot save you, a separated sense of self. If I am makes you feel bigger as a person, it is not revelation. It is a lullaby that puts vigilance to sleep and leaves bondage to do its quiet work. Freedom is hard to win. It is much harder to retain. The most subtle bondage is not gross appetite nor open vice. It is holy language placed like a crown on the personal mind. Spiritual words turned into personal weapons. That, my friends, is a house divided against itself, and it must fall. And so I speak tenderly but with urgency. Do not let the sacred syllables, I am, become the trumpet of the ego. Do not let the robe of the temple be cut and tailored for the parade ground. Before we go one step further, let me say what this gathering is not. We are not forming a new religion. There are no memberships here, and no one can join it. The only bond that holds us is a spiritual bond, recognition. You cannot benefit from this by belonging to something outside. You can benefit only by awakening something within. Blessings cannot be inflicted on you. You must, of your own heart, come into conscious union with the presence that is already your life. Now the path we will take together tonight is simple. First, we will uncover the hidden mistake, the almost invisible way we turn I am into a self-assertion and call it faith. Then we will see why it backfires in daily life, why it produces a brief heat and then a chill, why it is like a branch attempting to live without the vine. And then, quietly, inwardly, we will practice the correction. Not a show, not a system, just silently within yourself. You will think the word I, and we will refuse to attach a face, a history, a virtue to it, until only presence remains. Hold this thought as our guardrail. I am must reveal God awareness, not enlarge a personal sense. If we keep that one truth before us, if we are willing to be corrected, the way will open. Tonight we will not pile up words. We will move toward demonstration, peace felt, guidance recognized, freedom retained. And so, let us begin where freedom begins, with a willingness to be very still and very honest and very humble before the holy name that speaks itself within us. Now, before we add anything to it, let us be very clear what the word I is. It is not your name. It is not your age. It is not your resume, your family story, your victories, or your wounds. It is not your temperament, quiet, fiery, analytical, artistic. Those are garments. I is the naked point of awareness within you that is one with God. When you say I silently, just within yourself, do that now. Do not let it fasten on a face or a memory. Let it be the place where the branch touches the vine, where the withinness of you touches the infinite. That, and nothing smaller, is I. The reason we stumble is simple. The mind hears I am, and like a costumer before a parade, it runs for the closets. Names, histories, achievements, wounds, roles, masks. It hands them to you and says, "Put these on. Now we are spiritual." And because the cloth has sacred words woven into it, we do not notice that it is the same old self, all dressed up, moving with the same needs to be seen, to be proved, to be protected. We have placed holy language on the personal sense and called the glitter glory. There are two uses of the same phrase. I am as presence revealing itself. I as the point of union, am as the fact of being. And the effect is humility, transparency, love. Then I am as the personal mind asserting itself with sacred vocabulary. The same grasping center claiming divine titles. I am powerful. I am right. I am above. And the effect is tension, defense, isolation. The words can be identical. The root that feeds them is not. One draws from the vine. One is a cut branch painted green. So test yourself gently. After you say, I am, are you softer or harder? More at peace or more excited? More available to bless or more eager to be seen? Do you feel a widening quiet, guidance without argument, love without a target? Or do you feel importance rising, opinions stiffening, boundaries hardening? No one can tell you which use you are making. Neither a teacher, nor a group, nor a book can verify it for you. You must measure it by fruit. Peace that does not depend on circumstance. Guidance that does not require strain. Healing that is release rather than conquest. Supply as flow rather than scramble. Now, visualize again this simple truth. The I within you is the juncture of the branch and the vine. If you dress it in biography, you thicken the bark and slow the flow. If you keep it bare, no label, no boast, no defense, you discover a living current. Wisdom, love, intelligence, vitality pouring without your managing it. I am then means I, the point of union, am the presence appearing, not I, the person, am becoming something grand. And so, let us adopt this as our foundation. Never add to I what separates it from its source. Let I be the door, not the portrait on the door. Let I be the transparency, not the collector of titles. If you will hold to that, quietly, repeatedly, you will find that I am becomes revelation, not suggestion. Life, not slogan. Then, when we speak further of practice and demonstration, it will be fruit on the living branch, and not decorations pinned on a withering one. Now let us bring into the light the hidden mistake, because it is so polite, so polished, that it passes for prayer. The mistake is this: using I am to build a better personal self, more admired, more secure, more feared, more impressive, and calling that God realization. It wears a white robe, but it serves the same little throne. It says, I am confident, I am successful, I am irresistible. And then, when the words take on a metaphysical sheen, it graduates to, I am the power, I am the source, I am the cause. And all the while, the personal mind sits in the driver's seat and enjoys the new uniform. For some, it begins as innocent self-help, a pep talk, a needed lift after years of self-belittlement. For others, It becomes shiny metaphysics, big words, cosmic vistas, a sense of elite knowledge. For still others, it turns into a weapon. I am above, I am beyond, I am untouchable. And you can feel the air tighten when they speak. My friends, whenever I am makes the room smaller, sharper, more competitive, something unholy has borrowed holy language. The reason it feels spiritual is simple. The mind loves new vocabulary. It would rather change its words than surrender its rule. It will trade old worries for new claims and call it awakening. It will hang a gold medallion over the same anxious heart and pronounce, "Behold, divinity." That is not surrender. That is decor. That is not contact. That is ceremony. Understand this difference. Declaration is not realization. Repeating words is not touching the source. Realization is an inner stillness in which the personal self is quieted, governed, and, if need be, overruled by presence. In realization, I am does not puff you up. It dissolves you into a larger love. In realization, there is less of you on display and more of God in evidence. Peace without argument, guidance without strain, love without a target. The danger shows itself at once. The moment you feel spiritually superior because you know the phrase, you have already stepped off the straight and narrow into mental intoxication. That first warm rush, I have the secret, others do not. That is the sting in the cup. It will lead to defensiveness, to preaching, to a covert contempt, and then, mark it, when life presses, your grand I am collapses into fear, because it never rooted in the vine. It was suggestion, not revelation. Paint on a cut branch. Test it now in the only way that matters, by fruit. After your I am, do you relax or brace? Do you listen more deeply, or do you begin to announce yourself? Do you grow gentler with those who disagree, or do you sharpen your tongue? If the phrase compels display, it is hypnotism. If it produces quiet readiness to obey the inner government, it is beginning to be prayer. Therefore, let us be warned in love. Keep I am away from the appetite to be somebody. Keep it out of the parade. If it is to be holy, it must become small, inward, surrendered. It must be the branch consenting to the life of the vine, and not the branch declaring, I am the tree. When we know this, when we are willing to let the personal mind lose its crown, I am ceases to be a slogan and starts to be a door. Now, why does it backfire? Because suggestion can raise a temperature, but it cannot give life. The egoic I am is a stimulant. It produces a bright moment, heat in the nerves, a sense of height, an air of certainty. And then, because it is not drawing from the living root, it asks you to maintain it by repetition, by will, by pose. And the moment your attention wavers, the moment contradiction appears, the heat drops, and with the fall comes a chill, fear, strain, disappointment. That is hypnosis, not revelation. Visualize this with me a moment. Not as poetry, but as law. The branch does not generate sap. The branch is not the orchard. It is a bearer, a transparency, an avenue. Its one function is union. Sever it from the vine, physically or consciously, and it has no resource of its own. It can display leaves for a day or two. The color will hold a little while. But without the vine's life, it must wither. This is not punishment. It is an inevitable process. Translate that into your own experience. When I am is taken by the personal mind and used as a booster, the branch begins to imagine it is the vine. It announces, I have the power, and for an hour it feels strong, and then the dryness arrives. You will know it by these fruits. Constant self-monitoring. How am I doing? Have I kept the thought? Is my vibration high enough? Anxiety about outcomes, irritability when contradicted, disappointment when the world refuses to align with your decree, a subtle fear that if you stop asserting, everything will collapse. That is the withering branch effect. And notice, it is not only fatigue, it is bondage. Because now you have chained your peace to performance. You must keep yourself up. You must protect your claims, defend your image, maintain the glow. It becomes a full-time occupation to be your own savior. And the more you try, the more brittle you become. The more brittle, the quicker you shatter at a harsh word, an unexpected bill, a diagnosis, a delay. A house divided against itself cannot stand, and the personal mind attempting to play God is a divided house. Whereas, when I am is the recognition of presence, the branch consents to be branch. There is no self-monitoring because there is no self-project to maintain. There is watchfulness, yes, but it is the quiet attention of abiding, not the tension of engineering. Outcomes are not wrestled into place, they unfold. Contradiction does not inflame you, it sends you inward to the vine. And disappointment cannot hold you, because your good is not in events, it is in union. Therefore, let us be very clear. This is not a small error. After you have tasted a measure of truth, temptation comes twice as hard to turn it into personal advantage. Freedom is hard to win. It is much harder to retain. The quickest way to lose it is to put the holy name in the service of the personal self. If you have felt the withering, if you recognize those symptoms, do not condemn yourself. Simply acknowledge the severance and return. Remember, without me, without conscious union, you can do nothing that abides. With me, the life flows of itself. Now, having seen what I am is not, let us receive what it is in its clean meaning. I and the Father are one is not a human trumpet. It is the whisper of inseparability at the level of spirit. It is the same truth as, of mine own self I can do nothing, and its companion, the Father within me, he doeth the works. Translate that into our image, and it becomes very plain. I is the juncture of the branch and the vine. AM is the life of the vine present as the branch. No grandeur here, no strut, only union. Purity is simple. I am is pure when it points away from personal accomplishment and toward presence itself. Quiet, selfless, universal. So universal that it blesses the just and the unjust with the same sun, the same rain, the same impartial love. When I am is pure, it does not advertise, it reveals. It does not enlarge the mask, it dissolves it. It does not become a slogan pinned to the chest, it becomes a doorway opened in the heart. You will notice that when it is pure, the personal pronoun grows transparent. It stops gathering adjectives and begins to vanish into the awareness of that which is. And do not mistake this for passivity. God-governed living is the highest activity on earth. It is not a lazy river, it is a mighty current. But it begins in surrender. Surrender of personal outlining, personal timing, personal glory. The Master did not outline the day. He listened and moved. He did not take credit for the works. He traced them to the inner source. So with us. Abiding in I am is not folding the hands, it is opening the channel. From that openness, direction comes. Clear, exact, timely. Steps appear, sometimes bold, sometimes small, always right. Doors open, not by pressure, but by the weight of inevitability that accompanies the will of God. Out of this union flows supply that needs no strain to maintain. Wisdom and guidance, strength and intelligence, harmony and virtue, vitality and renewal. Wisdom to see through appearances, guidance to be where you must be when you must be there. Strength to stand still when stillness is the order, and to move when movement is the order. Intelligence to solve what baffles the clever. Harmony to quiet relationships without domination. Virtue to choose the clean path without self-congratulation. Vitality to do your day's work without depletion. And all this without ego display, without the theater of holiness, without the anxious need to prove. It appears as peace in the midst of pressure, as a right word in an awkward hour, as a healing where there had been fear, as a sufficiency where there had been complaint. That is the evidence. Not how large your words sound, but how sure your quiet has become. Not the shine on your phrase, but the fruit on your branch. Therefore, let I am be kept as the door into conscious union. Use it to turn, not to pose, to yield, not to seize, to enter, not to announce. If you find that after saying it, you are more ready to listen than to declare, more ready to bless than to win, you are near the vine. If, under pressure, the inner word I brings you into stillness and the next step rises of itself, you are tasting the clean meaning. This is the heart of it. I am is the recognition of presence, and in that recognition, the life and supply flow, not from you, but through you. Not for display, but for God's own fulfillment, appearing as your day. Now let us do the simple thing. Not later, now, just silently within yourself. Think of that word, I. Not your name, not your age, not your story. Only the bare sense of being. Declare it softly inside. I. Do not push it. Do not dress it. Just I. And watch, in the first seconds, what rushes in to borrow the word. A face appears. An old ambition straightens its tie. A regret comes with its ledger. A praise you once received, a criticism that still burns, a plan you hope will prove you. These parade themselves and say, yes, yes, that's me. That's the I. Recognize this tenderly as the personal mind doing what it always does, attaching labels to aliveness, pinning costumes to a light it did not kindle. Do not scold it. Do not argue. Let it pass as wind through an open room. Return to the simple I, again and again. Let everything that can be named fall off. Let everything that demands an adjective go hungry. If an image clings, bless it by not feeding it. Let it drift. If a fear insists, acknowledge its sound and do not follow its direction. Return to I. Each return is a loosening. Each loosening is a little more sap moving through the branch. Each movement is grace, not your achievement. Now add the correction, and then stop. I am. Not, I am this. Not, I am that. I am. And then rest. Do not manufacture a meaning. Do not hunt for a sensation. Be still enough to let being reveal itself. If the mind says, "Well, what now?" answer it with quiet. Nothing now. Just this. I am. Listen within, as if you were standing at a door and the one you love is almost at hand. You will know right contact not by fireworks, but by softening. The breath lets go of its harness. The shoulders drop their armor. A humility appears that does not belittle, it frees. Love begins to widen without an object to aim at. It is simply there, like light that does not choose its window. The sense of pushing gives way to the sense of being carried. A gentle inner yes that requires no audience, no agreement, no applause. You are not bigger, you are clearer. You are not excited, you are established. You are not important, you are included. Practice this where life pretends to be loudest. In the meeting where your opinion burns to be heard, I. In the kitchen when the old resentment reheats, I am. And then listen. In the doctor's office, in the grocery line, in the car when the red light tests your hurry, I. Let the parade go by. Let the presence come forward. Do not advertise it. Do not report on it. Live it. And if, 2 minutes from now, the mind steals the word and starts adding its trophies, start again. This is not defeat. This is fidelity. I am. Stop. Rest. Listen. The branch is consenting to the vine. The personal is falling quiet. The presence is taking government. Stay there a moment longer than you think you can. Then move gently into your next step as one carried, not one performing. Now, if the sap has begun to move, let us set the guardrails that keep it flowing. Truth is rarely lost by open persecution. It is lost by a smile in the mirror, by a very gentle vanity that takes realization and turns it into a badge. It starts with a subtle pride, a new phrase on the tongue, a glow in the chest, a sense that we have come upon a secret. And then the mind says, let us label this. Let us brand it. Let us teach it. Let us win an argument with it. In that moment, prayer becomes promotion. Realization becomes a resume. I am becomes a technique to gain leverage. The branch, instead of consenting to the vine, makes itself a display tree and strings lights for the neighborhood. It is beautiful for an evening. In the morning, the needles are on the floor. Let me say again, not as a boast, but as a safeguard. No organization can preserve this for you. There are no memberships, and no one can join it. The only bond here is spiritual, and it must be renewed inwardly, or it dissolves of itself. No teacher can do your remembering. No meeting can replace your consent to God. Blessings cannot be inflicted. You must consciously unite yourself with the presence, or the words become dead leaves. Therefore, protect your freedom by holding your realization where it belongs, within. Here is a simple test you can use, and you will be your own judge. If I am makes you harsh with those who don't get it, if it sharpens your impatience, if it produces superiority and a need to correct, it is the personal sense dressed in white. If I am makes you quieter, more compassionate, more responsive to the inner nudge, the phone call you are to make, the apology you are to offer, the silence you are to keep. Then presence is governing, and you may proceed. After the word, check the fruit. Do you soften or stiffen? Do you listen or announce? Do you include or exclude? And watch this closely. The mind loves to ritualize what it cannot rule. It will say, repeat it every hour, set a timer, print it on the mirror. Friends, repetition without contact becomes superstition. Churchianity can wear metaphysical clothing as easily as creeds and candles. Rules, penalties, performance, points for attendance, a sly scoreboard in the heart. There is nothing wrong with reminders, but there is everything wrong with trusting the reminder in place of the remembrance. Say the word only as a door, never as a charm. Therefore, no show, no system, no personal glory. Keep your I am out of the marketplace. Do not post it. Do not parade it. Do not use it to recruit or to win. Hold it as you would a marriage vow. Once you have found the inner way, give up the flirtations with display, debate, and advantage. Cling to the inner union alone. Fidelity here is not grim, it is joyous. It frees you from the exhausting labor of being impressive and returns you to the simple happiness of being true. Then the branch abides, the sap flows, and God does the works, quietly, beautifully, inevitably. Now we must come to the only authority that matters in spiritual work. Demonstration. People are not helped by our phrases, they are helped when fear dissolves, when harmony appears where discord had reigned, when the next right step presents itself without strain. A philosophy of words cannot feed a hungry heart or quiet a frightened body. Conscious union can and does. Therefore, the authenticity of I am is proven only in the fruit. Peace that abides, healing that releases, guidance that arrives in time. Here is the new causality, and it turns the world's method upside down. We are not manipulating conditions by mental force. We are consenting to the vine and letting life arrange itself through us. Right activity, right place, right timing are not engineered. They are revealed. The branch does not demand the season. It abides, and the season finds it. You will notice a reversal. Effort gives way to receptivity, scheduling to listening, anxiety to assurance. Then, when the step is shown, the movement is clean and exact. In health, do not stand before an organ and shout decrees. Go within and let fear be met by presence. Many times the very panic that tightens the body is the withering. Abide until the panic loses its throne. Often you will find a simple leading, not dramatic, not theatrical. Rest now. Forgive now. Change this small habit. Make that appointment. Take this walk. Put down that argument. Healing shows itself as order restored, pain loosening, sleep returning, tone coming back to the system, not because you asserted power, but because union removed the interference, and the Father within doeth the works. In supply, watch the difference. The egoic, I am prosperous, tightens the chest while you count the coins and refresh the market page. It must keep the heat up or it drops into fear. True I am loosens the grasp. You abide and you are sent, perhaps to complete an old task, to make an honest phone call, to release what no longer belongs to you, to accept an unlikely offer, to simplify. The result is sufficiency that fits like a tailored garment, needs met, obligations honored, a surplus that is useful rather than boastful. No jackpot, no famine. a steady flow because the branch is open. In relationships and recognition, the contrast is just as clear. The personal mind uses I am to win the room, to be right, to be seen, and the more it wins, the lonelier it becomes. Abiding I am makes you listen. It moves you to make amends without theater, to speak when silence would be cowardice, and to be silent when speech would be vanity. Recognition either arrives as a byproduct or ceases to be a need. The room softens, not because you dominated it, but because love, impartial and unforced, entered it. Take as a daily pattern what will preserve you. Contact first, action second. Never reverse the order. Do not use I am to bless a decision already made by personal will. Pause. Say I. Say I am. Stop. When the inner quiet is present and the next step rises of itself, then move. 1 minute of contact often saves months of repair. And here is your sober reassurance. You are not trying to become spiritual. You are consenting to what is already true. I and the Father are one. I am the branch abiding in the vine. From that consent, the fruit appears of itself, in health, in supply, in guidance, quietly, beautifully, inevitably. Good evening, and let this be said with tenderness. Freedom is hard to win. It is much harder to retain. The easiest fall is always the same: to take a holy word and make it serve the personal self. I am, cut loose from God awareness, becomes a toy in the nursery of the mind. And so I ask you, not with pressure but with love, to keep your liberty by choosing, again and again, the inward union over the outward show. For some, tonight has exposed the mistake. You have seen where the phrase began to dress the ego, and that sight alone has loosed you. For others, you have felt the backfire, the fatigue of maintaining a glow, the brittleness of a self that must be up, and that pain has turned you homeward. For still others, the sap is already moving. You have touched the clean I. You have rested in I am, and a calm has appeared that needs no advertising. To all three, the way remains one and simple. Recognize the mistake when it shows. Feel the wither as warning. Return to the pure sense of I. Rest in I am. Then let the fruits, not your announcements, speak. Here is the commitment that retains freedom. Several times a day, pause, just stop, in the midst of whatever task has your hands, and silently declare, I. Do not let it fasten to the person. Let the personal self be absent long enough for presence to be felt. Add I am, and then stop again. No adjectives, no outlining. Consent to be the branch and let the vine take government. A minute like that, truly still, will do more to guide your day than hours of self-arguing. Contact first, action second. Keep the order, and the order will keep you. Remember also how we stand together. There are no memberships, and no one can join it. The infinite way is not organized. The only bond among us is a spiritual bond. This remembrance of I am as presence. This willingness to be God-governed. You cannot benefit from this work unless you consciously unite yourself with it. Blessings cannot be inflicted. But when you do remember, when you enter by the inner door, at no time will you be outside the circle of love that presence sustains. Let us hold a few guardrails as we part. No show. Keep your prayer hidden. No system. Use reminders as doors, not as charms. No personal glory. Give the works back to the Father within. If you stumble, oh, and you will, do not dramatize it. Notice the severance and return. Without me, ye can do nothing. With me, consciously, humbly, the life flows of itself. Well, well, we are past our hour. When I'm on a platform and the Spirit comes upon me, I forget everything else. Oh, where did the time go? We are going to have to rest. Take one thing with you now. Before you speak to another person, before you touch a task, pause and say, I. Then, I am, and be still. Let the presence come forward. Then move gently. Retain your freedom by returning again and again to the vine.